You're listening to Breaking Up with Corporate, where quitting the rat race doesn't mean losing your mind. It means finding your purpose. We're your hosts. My name is Alex Murray.
My name is Susan Tresatti. Two women who ditched the suits, burned the handbooks, and built businesses that fed our souls.
Each episode, we bring you powerful stories from people who have made the pivot, left the grind behind to chase something bigger.
The road isn't easy, but it's worth it. So grab your coffee, your courage, and let's break up with corporate together.
I'm Alex. I'm the owner of Unleash You Coaching. I'm a business coach, and I left the corporate world 18 months ago after 10 years in corporate.
And my name's Susan, and I'm the owner of Dragonfly Realty. I'm a real estate agent and property manager. I left the corporate world 2 years ago after 30 years in the business.
Breaking Up with Corporate will share stories from individuals who have left the corporate world to pursue passion, purpose, entrepreneurship, and a more fulfilling career. We aim to inspire others through honest, respectful, and empowering conversations.
Welcome to another episode of Breaking Up with Corporate. Our guest today is Tracy Irby. She is an award-winning entrepreneur and director of Texas Women University Center for Women Entrepreneurs, where Tracy helps thousands of founders build stronger, more resilient businesses. A former Small Business Development Center advisor, she brings real-world insight into her own ventures, including a Sears hometown dealer store, which I believe was the first in the area, a gym, a bouncy house rental business, and an online self-defense company. She holds an MBA and a BAA in marketing and advanced certificates in entrepreneurship and economic development. Welcome, Tracy. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be on today.
Thank you so much for being on today. Let's kind of get right into it. So Tracy, wow, what a bio there. So yeah, tell us your origin story. I mean, you started way back in the day with Sears. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I was an owner of one of the first Sears hometown dealer stores. So that was kind of an accident I fell into. I had shopped there because we were getting new appliances, and I went home and told my husband, I just got the worst customer service ever. And then they were looking for owners, and I thought, let me apply for that. And sure enough, they selected me as one of the first owners of a Sears hometown store.
Wow. So what was it like being an owner of one of the first stores, and I'd imagine a woman owner of a store?
It was exciting. I had never really been in retail before, so that was a new experience, but I always believed in customer service. No matter where we are, we need to offer good service. So I knew how to do that. But you go off to training and you come in and it's day one and the doors open and you feel like, I don't know anything, but truly you do. But it was fun and exciting to do that after having been in corporate before that.
What was your position before Sears?
So I had done different things. I've always been a hard worker. I love work. So when I was younger, I many times had 2 jobs. Sometimes I even had 3 different jobs that I liked working. And then while I was going through school, I worked for different companies. It was in Dallas. It used to be called Chilton Credit Bureau. They're now a part of Experian, but they were a very large company and they had started in the 1800s. So it was really interesting working in that environment where you're answering to people. Things are always done a certain way. There wasn't always an opportunity for creativity or being yourself sometimes on the job. You had to do things their way. They had said for a while, hey, y'all can be doing some overtime. Shoot, many of us just took up on that. We were coming in at 5:30 in the morning to get work done. But then they realized, oh, we're paying a lot more money telling all these people they can do overtime. Let's not do that anymore. And then I'd moved on. I was an underwriter for an insurance company in Dallas as well. And I worked I was manager of a temporary service. The insurance company, it was fine. But every day when it was time to leave, there was a line at the machine. This is how, where you go to clock out. It's like, okay, let's go 5 to 10 minutes before work is over. Or there, everybody was like ready to get the heck out of there. Also, worked for it was a national temporary service, and I was the manager there. And we had started placing temporaries for light industrial jobs. So that was, wow, a crazy, crazy experience. So maybe somebody wanted 25 light industrial workers, and you'd send 50 and you'd pray that 25 would show up. So there was a lot of pressure in trying to do that. But then I learned as we were going on some of these jobs, sometimes I'd be the only person in the office. And then we'd come in and people had maybe not the best history. And I was feeling like the company didn't even care for us enough that leaving a woman by herself in here people who have committed crimes and other things, it's like, are they really looking out for what's really in the best interest of the employees?
So you've had like this really long peppered history with corporate and different jobs. You go into Sears, you spend almost how long at Sears?
I was
10 years?
there over not quite 10, but it was over 7.
Yeah.
And anyway, I mean, I like that. There's a lot of flexibility when you own your own business. So of course, at first it's hard. The first years are so tough as you're trying to grow a business. There you really don't have free time. But as the business is growing and the sales are growing, we increased over $1.5 million in sales. So as you start growing, you then get some flexibility, which was great. I was then able to be home when my kids were home and other things that I never would have been able to do if I was in a corporate environment.
How did you know it was kind of time to make a transition into owning the bouncy house and being more of like a solo entrepreneur?
So I think all of it then, once you go, it can be a little bit addicting. I did the bounce house rentals while I had the Sears store. And it was great because I could have my delivery driver take these and pay him a little differently to do those for me. But it was just something I saw and there was a need. It was really before bounce houses got as popular as they are right now. And if you've ever been in retail, I thought, hey, let's do something where every customer is happy. And those bounce houses did that for them.
What would you say like the best part about owning like the bounce house rental, like and that customer experience that you gave them?
Well, the return customers that you had every year, the organizations that loved you and what you did for them and what you offered them was great. It was also fun because a lot of people paid you in cash as well. So what was fun about that, and some people think it's, when you're starting something, it's really tough. Well, for everyone, having a banker is important, but it was really important when I did this. I said, hey, I want to start a bounce house business. And I got a loan for my first one, but it was great because it paid for itself every single month. So, those are some of the things that you learn, but entrepreneurship kind of gets to you then where you take on other things as well. And then it's like, what else can I do? What else do I like? You want to be careful that you aren't doing too many at one time. But I truly feel, and I talk to a lot of young kids as well as they're starting out, but really women especially, we should all have a side gig. We should all have something else. I ended up a single mom of 2. And at times, if I didn't have that side gig, I don't know how I would have made it.
So how, with that kind of recommendation for people to have that side gig. What do you recommend for, I mean, even if it's just women or anybody to have that? So like, what's the first step? Like, what's the, what
How
kind
do
of
you
advice
figure
would
it
you give?
out?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you figure out what that side gig's going to be? Because I'm interested now.
So, I mean, really talking to people, what is it you like to do? Many times there are things that you're already doing that you don't realize could be a side gig for you. And for some, it could be a part-time job. And if you enjoy doing that, that's fine. I'm also a licensed insurance agent, and I used to go to homes and do in-home appointments. And I went to one, and this young man said to me, you know, if anybody saw that necklace you were wearing, they might rip it off your neck. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I am going in homes and I have nothing to protect myself with. So that became the idea. I mean, many times it comes from a need that's not being fulfilled. So that's when I started the non lethal self defense business. So I sold pepper spray and stun guns and all kinds of interesting tools. If anybody comes to my house now, they would be amazed by all of the different self defense items that I have. But sometimes it's just the idea and how can I make that happen? So when I was thinking about that, I did research in the industry and I found a company in Florida where I could drop ship these products. So I had never thought of drop shipping before, but I'm like, this is great. So you can set up your own website or they would do one for you and put everything on there. So when an order came, I would send it to them and they would send it out in my name. So it was really a great way to get in without having to invest a lot of money. But sometimes there's an idea you have or something happens in your life and you think, I need this filled. So that's how I got into that one. And I still have some and I may jump back into doing that again because it's a lot of fun with businesses too. Many times you need to think, what are different ways that I could be doing that? So I had a website, but it takes forever for people to find you on a website. Today with social media, they can find you a lot quicker. A lot of people then were writing articles, and this one man, he had written articles for 2 years and he finally got his first customer. So it's like, okay, what else can we do? Well, who's the biggest marketplace out there? Amazon. So I started selling products on there. Well, it did get where you couldn't sell stun guns on there anymore in some of the others. But what's odd is you never really know. Sometimes you have a certain idea what you think will sell. Well, I put a whole bunch of different products up there. Well, for some reason, taser batteries took off. I was selling the fire out of taser batteries. So it was like, okay, well, I'll just stock up more so I have those. And so I found some other suppliers at that time too. And I did start keeping some of those on hand then because you just don't know. But there's so many different opportunities out there for those who want to be an entrepreneur. Now, you want to be careful if you are drop shipping, especially on Amazon, because they can't be late. You know, it is you who is under it. If, for instance, we can't get this product out for 3 days, well, that's not going to work today. So you need to really test out the companies that you want to work with, or you think I'm going to do some drop shipping. You want to make sure that they fulfill the way you will fulfill.
Well, Tracy, it sounds like you've had a lot of successes. Can you speak to any of like the challenges or fears that came up that you had to deal with building these businesses and speak to any of those?
Well, it takes time. Sometimes people think it's going to take me a long time, or I want to be an influencer, but I don't know anyone. Everything starts with one. You start at the beginning and you grow from there. There are going to be mistakes. There are going to be problems that happen. And I really don't like to use the word failure. I mean, truly, it's a lesson you just hadn't learned yet. I mean, because we don't know everything when we start, and it is such a great learning process. I think it's really important, and there's more now ever than before. So many resources out there for entrepreneurs that are are free. The other thing is you have to be very disciplined. Not everybody is. Now, I know when I had kids, sometimes, and this was back in the older days when you did SEO, I was up sometimes till 2 in the morning trying to put my business in a business listing. And it's kind of like when we were a kid and we used to read a book or something, we say, let me read one more chapter. I was like, let me add one more place before I go to bed. Let me do just one more. That the hours aren't regular and sometimes it's hard. I had my kids and we were ready to go on vacation. I drove up to the store and one of the ladies said, I have to go. My son is sick. So it's hard. It disrupts your life, but it helps you in so many other ways that you just have to stick at it. Don't wait for perfection. We see so often in advising that sometimes people are waiting till it's perfect. Well, if you're waiting till it's perfect, it's never going to happen. That you just have to get out there and just start doing it. You may not do it perfect, but you're learning and you're getting better at it all the time. And again, there's so many free resources out there. If you don't know what to do, connect with someone, connect with free advising, do something that will help. Get around other entrepreneurs. I find that I thrive in opportunities with other entrepreneurs. I have some great friends. We do stuff all the time, but we don't talk about business and growing a business. And when you get around others that are like-minded, it's amazing what all you can do. We have found many then that started partnering with each other. That could be, I don't know, is that how y'all got together? Mm-hmm. Maybe we can do this together because surround yourself with people who think like you do, and it can help you and make it so much easier.
Yeah, that's exactly how Alex and I got together. Was we were networking, and it was like, oh my gosh, we had similar stories of leaving corporate, and thank God Alex is a business coach, so she was like, oh, let's do this podcast. And I was like, wow, that is a great idea. And we're so different in certain ways, but in other ways, we're so similar. So we feed off each other really well. I am so excited to be doing this with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah, I love that, Tracy. I always say, like, make it exist first, you can make it good later. So the advice. Can you talk about some of the resources? I know you work at TWU and the Entrepreneurship for Women. Can you talk about some of those resources that exist?
Yeah, I'll be glad to. So, well, it's kind of funny how I got here too, because many times when you've been self-employed, they have no idea what to do with you. For a job. So as you said, I got into small business advising, which was great because that in some way, if I wasn't creating a new business then, I'm helping others do it, which helps satisfy that. And then when I was recruited over here, so at the center, we help through free small business advising. And I can tell you, as we watch women grow their businesses, it is just so exciting when we see down the road. They're starting a podcast. They're winning other grants. They are really excelling in their business. It's great. So we help, again, through free small business advising, network and training events. I know Susan's been to many of those.
I'm coming tomorrow.
Yay! We do grant programs as well. We've given almost $1,500,000 to women-owned businesses in Texas. And then we do accelerate her training programs across the state. And we also do a CWE fast track program, which is for those in very early ideation. And this year, in the summer, we're going to offer one in Spanish. So that will be our first time doing that. So we're really excited.
Yeah, I love that. I'm part of the Accelerate Her program, so I super appreciate that program as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from your monthly Women Rise, which that's what's tomorrow.
Yes.
They have great breakfast, but I have met a lot of great women business owners and been able to get a lot of good information from those monthly meetings. And I actually met a TWU student, and I was telling her about Women Rise, and she said, I didn't know they had that. I'm going to go tomorrow.
Well, so we are really more external. We do work with students too, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel like we're a student program when we are funded by the state legislature just to help promote women anywhere in Texas. You don't need an affiliation with the university system. We find that so often we've had women here an hour after it ends, just networking and talking with each other and starting to build those relationships. And again, we've had some who have gone into business together or are helping each other. I'm of the mindset no one is a competitor, that truly we can work with them. If I can't help you in some way, this person may be able to do it. If you can't get to a house or if you can't coach, but that person that day, but you save it by working with somebody else, that it's so beneficial to make those relationships with each other. Don't think of them as competitors, but as ways you can both enhance your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that statement. What is it like working with women entrepreneurs, and how does it align with like your current values and current calling?
Well, I think I kind of hinted at this. It helps me, I think, too, with my entrepreneurial ideas as well. But everybody here was a business owner, so it's really great to talk with people who have been where you have. You know, when you come in and you're talking to someone about your business, that you're learning from someone who has been there, done that. Hey, maybe you don't want to do this. This is why. There's so much that they can learn, and there's so much that we can bring to them. Somebody called Friday and she said, I've been getting mixed messages from people. Some people say I can't do that in my business. Somebody else said this, and it was about something that the FDA would be looking at. And I just said, why don't you call the FDA? That we have resources that many times you don't know. You can just call them to get the answer. So it helps me keep up to date on things. I can't tell you how many webinars and classes and other things I go to just to keep on top, but that we are here to help. And as we're doing it, I mean, it's so satisfying. And as I said, when you see others win big grants, somebody recently just won $35,000. I mean, it's like you feel like a proud mom.
Yeah.
So that's why we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Susan, do you have any questions or?
No, but Tracy, you and I were talking a little bit before this, and we have a similar background where we were in corporate. We left corporate, did a business, went back to corporate, then broke off again. And, you know, you learn so much the first time and you think, I'm never going to do that again, you know, put all my eggs in one basket and things like that. But you know, sometimes we want people to know that sometimes it may not, if it doesn't work out, you can always go back to corporate. We're not saying that everybody should leave corporate, because there's a certain mindset to being an entrepreneur. And, you know, but it is really tough to go back when your mind wants you to be an entrepreneur. So, any suggestions you can give people about, you know, going back, coming back out, you know, things you've learned from doing that?
Well, you need to think of your life and where you are. I was in a small town, so it was very difficult at that point when I wanted to go back to work. So that's when I fell into small business advising. But by coming back into the corporate type world, I now have a pension. A lot of my insurance will be paid for by them when I retire. So as someone who's been an entrepreneur for so many years, it's nice to come back and get benefits that I may not have had otherwise, because you're not always thinking about investing in those things while you're growing a business, etc. And again, life changes. Many times someone in your family may get sick, something else happens, and you may need more steady income. It is okay to go back if it, you know, is going to help you and your family in your finances. But even though I've jumped back in, you know, I have things on the back burner that are coming up as well. And truly, for anybody thinking about that, the best time to start a business is while you're working full time somewhere. 2 years is like a magic number. No bank wants you when you're first starting out. If you can start an LLC or a business while you're working and can fund it, by the time you're really ready to go into it full time, you're in a much better position than I lost my job. I got to start a job today or start a business today, because it takes a while to replace an income.
You're so right on that. I went back because my kids were both ready for college. And I was like, we didn't do as good of a job saving for their college, but I was able to work for the university, get both of their educations for free, which was a huge windfall, for
Mm-hmm.
us. And it was great. It was also a lot less stressful of a job right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
So I really needed that. And I learned a lot from going back. And like you said, I was able to build up my 401 while I was not having to pay for two college educations. And they went to a Division I school, which they're not cheap.
Yeah.
So they got great educations. Now I made them both take out a little loan, so every month they would remember their mother for all their hard work. But they both were very appreciative of it.
Right.
So
So
sometimes it's the perks of going back, But I
exactly.
always knew I'd be back out at one point.
Mm-hmm. And here.
Here I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Tracy, is there anything at any point in any of your businesses that you kind of like wish you had known sooner? Like if you hindsight obviously is 2020, but like if somebody could have whispered in your ear, whether it's like the bounce house or, even going back before you started the Sears company, like, is there anything you wish you had known sooner?
Well, I don't know. I feel like you can't really know
Yeah.
all of it, and sometimes the stumbling is what makes you stronger,
Yeah.
and the business stronger. Believe in yourself, I think, is a strength. Get out of your comfort zone. So maybe I'm veering a little here,
Yeah. I
but
love it.
the first time I sold products, I showed at a gun show, and I had never been to a gun show in my life, but it's like getting out of your comfort zone. And then I loved it. And I remember going to another show and some man said, "Nobody here buys stun guns. I never sell any." Oh my God, I sold so many. So some of it is, don't always listen to what other people are telling you, because their experience is not your experience. And I think another thing is just get started. Maybe I had thought about the self-defense business kind of off and on when I once had read something about it, but I really didn't think about it in my life until that one person said, we'd take your necklace, someone would take your necklace, that you need to just do it. That sometimes we are our own worst enemy and we want to wait till something's perfect. It's never going to be perfect. So
Yeah.
just get out, start it, trust your own intuition. So I wish I knew, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. This kind of just came to me because being kind of a serial entrepreneur, how do you stay kind of focused? I coach a lot of people and I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs have a multitude of ideas and sometimes all at once. They want to pursue a lot of things, or even in one business, they have a lot of ideas, and it kind of like divide their focus. Do you have any recommendations for somebody who's dealing with that?
Well, I mean, it can be tough because you have different ideas, but sometimes you can do that with one business, not really thinking about it. So as I'm looking at what I'm doing, and I'm planning things kind of under one umbrella, under education. I sell insurance. There's an education component to that. Thinking about doing something in grant reviewing. But again, it's about educating. So sometimes your different ideas really fall under the same thing. And so maybe you can think it's okay. If you can perfect one before you bring the other in, that's great too. I know I'm getting money from here, but this may fall in there. So many times, again, what we're thinking about is interrelated, where it can all be brought together in one way.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So kind of leading into kind of the final ending of this, is there anything going on with TWU that we should all know about that you would like everyone to hear about? Anything coming up or anything like that?
Well, of course, we love our Women Rise, second Tuesday of every month, and they can find that information on our website. As we're funded for all of Texas, we do have a virtual component, but for those that are in person, come on out, 7:30, get a free breakfast. 8 o'clock is the program, and 9 o'clock, when it's over, there's still more networking. We are going to be opening our veteran grant in January. It's going to open the 21st of January. So if there are any veteran woman entrepreneurs out there, that's going to be coming up. And then we have different programming that will be going on throughout the year. So reach out. I can send you all a link to our link tree where they can go, and or just come in for advising. Sometimes people do it for a while and stop and then come back a year later. That if they need a business tune up or something, come on in and we'll work with them.
Yeah, definitely send that, because I do know some women veteran entrepreneurs. I actually got certified to work with military because of these women. They're so amazing and so helpful with other vendors or entrepreneurs that they kind of talked me into working with them on veterans.
Great. I love that. Yeah, I'll be happy to share that with you.
Tracy, is there anything or any questions that we didn't ask you or anything that you wanted to mention?
Well, I think you did a good job with your questions and what you had, and that we went over quite a bit. But really, for those that want to step out, entrepreneurship is just so great. There's a kind of satisfaction you get there I don't think you get in the corporate world. So again, as I realize too, sometimes just you've got to get out and just start it.
I love that.
Yeah, and Tracy, the one point that you made, which was key for me with my second business, is a lot of times people cannot leave a job that's a very good paying job to start a business. And I loved how you said about the 2 year mark, because my first business, it took me 2 years to really hit the ground running. And then with this one here, a lot of things I've learned. But like you said, with me, getting any kind of money, they want to know that you've been in business. They want to know you're going to be around. So that's where that 2 year thing. But I was just talking to I belong to a lot of real estate websites, and people will be like, well, I work full time. And I said, I did too. I didn't start real estate right out of the gate. I couldn't afford to leave my, high paying job to do real estate. But in 2 years, I was able to move forward. But I didn't start my
I think
LLC
there's
early enough. So that was a good point.
yeah, you can get that started so that time frame is going. So I think it's just really important to start and think about that, because many times people come into entrepreneurship thinking they're going to replace the salary right away, and reality is you're not.
Yep, that is very true.
Yeah.
Well, Tracy, you were an amazing guest today. Thank you so much for your time. And anyone who's listening, please reach out to Tracy if you need any help and any resources with entrepreneurship. She is there to help, and we'll make sure to link all of her URLs at the end of this and in the descriptions below. And so I think that's the end. And thank you for joining us on Breaking Up with Corporate. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ladies.
This is the beginning of your next chapter.
Thanks for listening to Breaking Up with Corporate. Be sure to subscribe and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Until then, remember, you don't have to do this alone.